Welcome to the Winner Circle. You're now tuned in to Hip Hop Talks. Got my people with me. Sean repping Corona Queens in the house. AG from the 53rd state, better known as West Virginia.
Yo, what up, everybody?
Yo,
cool. hey, real quick, cool. All that talking you was doing the other day on the Civil War, you ain't mentioned how, you know what I'm saying, my state, came about after the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I wasn't on that show. I just had to watch it as a spectator, but I thought you at least give us a shout out since you did the history lesson.
We can talk about the succession and separation of Virginia and West Virginia some other time, sir. I'm Coop. I'd like you to welcome you all to Hip Hop Talks. Make sure you click like, share, and subscribe to our tribe. We actually have a wonderful show today. For those of you that are used to seeing us on Thursday, we're confident, but we're not foolish. The Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing tomorrow right around our slot time, so we just moved our slot time up a little bit today. Before we get into anything, quick sports picks. We got any picks we want to make about potential Super Bowl matchups? Who wins this Baltimore-Kansas City game? Going to give you fellas the opportunity to let me know some of your NFL thoughts. MVP choices. Go ahead, Sean. Set it off.
Man, it's going to be a tough year, man. I think that you cannot count out Kansas City, defending champs. You got Pat, my homeboy out there. You can't go wrong with Pat, right? So he's always going to be the staple right now until somebody take him off. It's going to be a toss-up year, straight up. It's going to be a toss-up year. Pittsburgh is going to be dead last. The Raiders are going to be trash as usual. Green Bay is going to be trash again. Getting all of that out the system right now. I hope Philly lose every single game and go Cowboys. That's how I look at it.
Oh, wow. You one of them? Damn. That's crazy.
I'm just saying, throwing it out there.
AG, hold on. Before I slide to you, AG, Sean, who's your MVP this year? And who wins the Kansas City-Baltimore game?
I think Lamar is going to get it this year. And okay. I think Baltimore is going to beat Kansas City this first game. I really do. I think Lamar he has to prove this year again. Mm-hmm. If you stay healthy, he's MVP.
Okay. AG, your turn. Super Bowl predictions, MVP. Who wins Kansas City versus Baltimore tomorrow?
First of all, I'd like to see my team make it to the Super Bowl. The Raiders got the Bo Jackson on, one of the greatest athletes ever. But I'm a realist though, so I know we're not going to be there. But I can't really say who's going to be in the Super Bowl. But I'll give you my top teams to watch this year that I think could make it. In no particular order, I think we got Baltimore. I think we got Philly. Could end up getting back there. I'm going to say the Niners. I'll say Cincinnati. And I'll say Miami to round out my top five. I think Baltimore is going to win the game against the Chiefs. And for MVP, I got what I think is a dark horse candidate. I think if Joe Burrow can stay healthy and on the field, I think he's going to get the MVP.
I don't see it, but okay.
First of all, I'd like to say before we slide to our actual hip hop talks, then I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, so I have the worst.
Oh, you serious?
In professional football, I have the worst. No, not a joke. Stop laughing. I have the worst owner in professional football. It's a very foolish man. It's a very petty man. And he has pretty much ruined this franchise since he has owned it. He is comparable to James Dolan and Donald Sterling in his ability to wreck an entire atmosphere and culture. He sucks. So my team's not going anywhere, so I have no right to judge. I was heavy on Lamar last year. His offensive coordinator burned me bad in the AFC Championship game. What I would like to submit to people is that there's never been a quarterback that can run and throw at the same time the way Lamar can, that's had a running back like Derrick Henry behind them.
Yeah.
That's never happened before. Like, think about Randall Cunningham's best running back, Michael Vick, Steve Young. Think about whoever their best running back was, like whoever your best, combo of running and throwing. Oh, they never had a Derrick Henry.
Right.
And I expect them to lead the league in rushing again, but this time expect them to actually put up maybe some historical type like rushing numbers, and I expect them to run like over people this year. Like last year they aired everybody. I think this year they're going to run everybody over, and I think the only way, and I think they found this out the hard way, like we already knew, which is why it was such a foolish game plan. The only way that you beat Patrick Mahomes is to keep the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, stall him out. Yeah.
Yep.
Derrick Henry is there specifically to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, not Lamar Jackson's.
Right.
And so they need to win this game, and I believe they need to beat them again this time in the AFC Championship. But I think this time it's going to be in Kansas City. Because I do expect the Chiefs to be one of the 1 or 2 seeds. I think Baltimore does not end up with the number 1 seed, but I do pick them to go to the Super Bowl again this year. As far as MVP, I'm actually going to pick Josh Allen this year because I think this is going to be the year where he has to do the most. I think he will keep them credible enough to garner the MVP. Like he'll keep them in the borderline playoff contention. So I'm going to pick Josh Allen. So
Josh, wow.
Yeah, I'm picking
Josh
Josh.
is tough. Josh is tough.
They throw interceptions too. Turnover machine.
Well, I think
he's better than that. We'll say that. He's better than that.
Where's the evidence?
I know this.
Stop it.
I know this lady up the street at the church is better than Dak. That's a whole other conversation.
Wow.
Okay.
You're kind of fan. What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm gonna slide to the next topic, gentlemen.
Oh, real quick, I need to say this real quick. Sorry, Coop. Taylor Swift, I know she watches Hip Hop Talks. I do need her to break up with Kelsey like mid-season. It will help us out greatly. Appreciate it, Taylor. Thank you. Moving on.
Okay. This is why I have the closing arguments, AG. No more closing arguments for you. This is exactly why I'm giving closing arguments. Please, AG, no more closing arguments for you. That was terrible, like your team. Speaking of terrible.
We better than the Panthers.
Speaking of terrible, not by much, which is sad. Terrible. Speaking of terrible, Big Sean's album sales numbers have come in, guys, and it's 24K, which is by far the lowest of his career.
Yeah.
AG, what are your thoughts on why his album sales are so low from a project that you claim that is really good and that you like and that you enjoy? Why are the numbers so low?
I still stand by that. I still think the project is really good. The easiest answer would be that the leak affected him, right? But I mean, let's be real. I'm gonna be realistic. I don't think if that leak happens that he even does double the numbers that he actually did, if I'm being honest. I just don't think the anticipation was there. Like, Sean is like, in the grand scheme of, the crop of MCs he came into the game with, you got the big three and it's almost like, he's invisible. You know what I mean? Because, people don't really check for him the way they should based on his talent. And, to your all's points on the last show, he had the opportunity to do something spectacular and he didn't deliver on that. He delivered a good album, but that wasn't what the situation was calling for. I still mess with the album, but the stakes that were up against the album, he didn't live up to that, and I can admit that even though I enjoy the album. And the numbers reflect that because I do think he has enough popularity that if he would have dropped, a stellar borderline classic piece of work or truly his best work to date, the numbers probably would have reflected that because he's did everything you could possibly do in terms of a rollout. We had the Charlemagne interview. We've had multiple singles. He did the Tiny Desk joint, but that got stepped on by the beef. And, he's done everything in his hands that he can do. But, with him being out of the game so long and not being present enough in people's faces, then it's like, everybody kind of forgot about him.
You were kind of answering my question, but you weren't answering the question until the end. He took time off. People forgot about him.
But I think the truth is
up until then.
Yeah, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle because, we chastise people that are away from the game too long. And then at the same time, we say somebody like Drake is doing too much and needs to fall back. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. You got to find that happy medium to still keep yourself relevant. And, he had stuff going on personally. He had the birth of his son and this and that, but it's still ways that you can keep yourself engaged in what's going on in the hip hop space. And he really didn't do that. And he said as much himself in the Charlemagne interview. So I think the numbers reflect, basically what the work that was put into it.
Sean, what do you have to say about your namesake, albeit spelled differently?
He shouldn't have spelled my way. He probably would sell about 50K more. But as AG was doing his violin, oh, Sean had a baby. Sean stayed out too long. Nah, man, stop that, bro. I still like the album. Nah, you and 23,999 people like the album.
Don't attempt to do math on camera, Sean. You know that's not your strong suit. Don't do that.
That was very personal. But anyhow, like I was saying, this was his chance. We talked about this way before the album dropped. When we first got with the album dropping, what did we say? We said this gotta be the one. This has to be the one that he makes a stamp for himself. Not just, let's not talk about the big three or being at four. Just make a name for you, just make a stamp for yourself, because you're saying how great you are. You're saying that you're lazy. You're saying that you can do better, that you can be more active. Those are not excuses to me, because a lot of these other artists are not as active, but they still come back and do what they do. Take Kendrick, for example. He wasn't active after that bullshit ass album that he dropped, and he came back. And now he's doing millions with a couple of singles, right? Albeit Drake is attached to it. But you still, the point is, you still have other artists out there where the fan base misses you. When you come back, they're clamoring to get to you. So sometimes when someone miss you and if they want to get more of you, and you come back and now everybody coming to the table to say, yo, I got to get a piece of that because now he's back. He didn't get that effect because he stayed away, no one missed him. And that's a hard thing to accept, because if I don't miss you, that don't mean I don't care what you drop. I'm going to rock with you. I'm going to say it's dope because I think you are dope. But
Right.
Let's be honest. Are we giving Sean this credit because we like Sean? You know what I mean? Are we giving Sean that credit because we feel like, yo, he's a nice guy? These interviews show a lot of vulnerability, and we want to be sensitive to that, right? But this is a blood sport. Hip hop is a contact sport. You got to make contact with your fan base. If you can't make contact with your fan base, then they're not going to show up for you when they need you, when you need them the most. And I don't think the fan base showed up for him when they needed him the most.
That was the question I was going to ask you, and this is a legitimate question because I can't tell and I don't know. Do you think Sean has a substantial core fan base built in? Because we know what Cole's fan base look like. They show up and show out. We know Kendrick got a base. Drake got all the casuals in a base. You know, do you think Sean actually has a legit fan base that show up and show out and just drop the ball this time? Or his fan base is kind of like, you know, nothing that he can hang his hat on as an artist?
They're there. They just abandoned him. And it's okay.
What do you think, Coop?
Yeah, okay, so when this happens, you have to understand, beyond the music is just a simple fact. He grew up and his fan base didn't. And so Sean is right. They abandoned him because they essentially are telling him, we didn't ask you to make this grown up shit. That's really what they're saying at the end of the day. It's a grown man's album.
Mm-hmm.
And his fan base isn't with it. And this is the response to that. It's not even that complicated to me, in all honesty. It's literally like that simple and plain. That's why I was bringing up the Ludacris comparison. It's like, you know, his fan base kind of told him at the end, no, we don't want that from you, though. Like, we get it. We ain't ask you to do that. And that's what Sean's fan base is telling him now today. And, you know, if he's listening, he's going to find that fine line and learn how to, you know, do like the person that we're about to transition to, which is LL and his upcoming project with Q-Tip. Fellas, a lot of barbershop debates has been that, well, is LL and Q-Tip's project more exciting and creating more excitement and more buzz than the Pete Rock and Common Auditorium album, Volume 1? What say you, Sean? Is it generating more excitement for like the fan base and for the hip hop fan base and just for hip hop in general? Because we're talking about four legends that are, you know, working on, you know, in duos right now, like separately. Like what is What is the buzz behind L? Because I'll tell you real quick, and then I'll let you jump in. I've just found L to be the most entertaining person of the four for these rollouts, but I kind of figured that was going to happen. But go ahead.
Yeah, queens get the money. I mean, the personality. I mean, you got personality like L, and you have the legacy that L has. He has a draw. He knows how to sell it. He knows how to go into these interviews and sell everything. And I think just the idea of him on his promo run, L is giving you different layers. He's giving you that legacy layer. He's giving you that I'm the one layer. He's also giving you that I'm re-energized layer as well. And he's educating you along the way. Whereas someone like Common and and Pete Rock, dope album, but we're not talking about the album anymore. Honestly, if that album would have came out probably mid 2000s, I think it would have been a different vibration. Because right now we want to be entertained. You know what I mean? I think that L is going to give us that entertainment when he releases this album, because you're going to get different layers. You even look at the features. I'm like, yo, we got Nas on this joint called Pray. Yo, I'm bought. I'm sold. You got me. You know what I mean? And we didn't get that from Common. I think the rollout that they did was a phenomenal rollout. I think they played too many songs off the rollout before the actual album. So I think it diluted the experience once you get in there. And once you got diluted of the experience, now when you hear it, you're like, I already heard that one. Let me go to this one. I already heard that. We'll go to this one. And I think that's where it's at. I'm looking forward to this LL album. And I think it's more anticipated for me, personally for me, than it was for Common. If I'm being honest.
AG, before you go, you mind if I get to a few super chats right quick?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
007 with the 199 super chat. Queens get the money. Greetings from Rio. Go Jets and have a good show. Shout out to 007 out in Rio. 007 again with the 199 super chat. Drake took Big Sean's flow and ran with it. Fascinating topic. We might have to circle back around on that if we have time. Tracy G, what up, Tracy, with the $5 super chat. AG, very disappointed that you chose Big Sean album over Cole.
Nah, I still think it's better than Might Delete Later, but that's just me though. What do you think, Coop? Have you revisited Might Delete Later anytime recently?
Not recently, in all honesty. I do. When it comes to stuff like this, here's how I feel about your sentiment, about your statement about Big Sean's album being better. I can't give you any quantifiable evidence right now to say otherwise based on my memory, because if it pulled me in like that, I'd just be able to tell you with a straight face like, AG, you're fucking tripping. You know what I'm saying? So
what I will say to this is, to answer the super chat, I have listened to Might Delete Later recently, and I think that the Big Sean project is a more complete album. We know Cole is the better rapper, but he has a more complete album, whereas Might Delete Later is very mixtape-ish, if that makes sense. So
no, it makes perfect sense. It feels that way. I can give you that. Like the Big Sean album, in terms of how it was put together, is put together better than the Cole album, but I don't know if it's necessarily better. But let's get your thoughts on who's creating more excitement between the L and.
I disagree with Sean a little bit. It's kind of hard to compare the two albums because, we've heard one and then one has yet to, be released. And but I will say this. I love the rollouts of, both factions, because, LL's been, very active on a bunch of different platforms, and so was Common and Pete Rock. And but here's the fundamental difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I see is, and LL has enough personality for everybody. We alluded to that. L is like, the biggest personality out of everybody. But to me, the main difference is on every pull-up, Common and Pete Rock were together. And L, is by himself. I want to hear what Q-Tip has to say about the product. I want him getting behind his product. Even when Nas and Hit were on their run, everywhere they pull it up, just about, they pull it up together to sell their product. Not saying that Q-Tip doesn't believe in it, but it would be nice to see him beside L, like, yo, we've been in the lab cooking together, and this is what we putting out, blah, blah, blah. Common and Pete Rock did that. So for me, that built more excitement and anticipation from a producer MC combo versus just seeing LL talk about the album on his own. And
well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you something then. If you feel that way, how would you feel if, let's say, once this album drops, it's dropping on the 6th, correct? It's about to drop.
Yeah, Friday.
Let's say from Friday on, Q-Tip emerges from where he is submerged, and he actually emerges from where he is and is standing right next to L. Don't you think that creates more of a moment? Isn't that moment bigger?
If that happens, that's a different conversation. But, my concern with a lot of these projects is, are they in the lab cooking together? Not like, oh, I'm sending him tracks, he's rapping over it. And when I see them pull up to all these spaces together, I know, they're cooking up together. Like that's how I view it, So
I sincerely feel like L and Q-Tip have been cooking up together.
They may be, but from just an optics standpoint, we don't know because we're not seeing Q-Tip say anything about it. He's not with L, and maybe that's by design because, like I said, L is enough personality for everybody to go around, and Q-Tip's not really like that, as far as interviews go.
Q-Tip's never been the type of guy to just kind of walk around and bloviate about what it is that he's doing and how well he's doing it. He's never been that way about it.
Neither is Pete. When last time you seen Pete out here moving and shaking, doing interviews like this?
Maybe not moving and shaking and doing interviews, but Pete, personality-wise, is more braggadocious, in my opinion, than Q-Tip.
That's fair. Yeah, Q-Tip's more humble than Pete. I will say that. But, just from an optics standpoint, I think Common and Pete Rock did a better job of hyping up their fan base versus those who were going to tap into this album, maybe more so for Q-Tip's production versus LL with the bars. They don't really got nothing from Tip to go on. You know what I mean? And another thing I disagree with Sean is, I agree with him, but disagree. He said that all the singles prior to the Common and Pete Rock release kind of diluted the product a little bit. I do agree with that aspect, but at the same time, LL has released the same amount of songs prior to his release. We heard 4 songs off both projects prior to the release.
There's something about the L and Q-Tip project that just feels funkier to me at this point. I'm not even necessarily saying that it's better because I haven't heard it in full yet. Something about it feels like the auditorium kind of touches some of my fundamental hip hop sensibilities, even though it doesn't excite me. This feels more like something that's touching my soul and the pieces of parts of me that's living and the part of me that's lived life. You know what I mean? That's about the L joints. And I think that for me is more exciting because of the people creating that feeling, because L's not really known for creating that feeling. And
it's been a while, to rewind.
The fact that it feels funky, that it feels soulful, that it feels like it's something different coming from him, it's having more effect and it's more exciting because it's L, and I wasn't expecting this. Even Saturday Night Special, it's like, oh no, I wasn't expecting that. That perked me up.
I'm glad you said that, Coop, because we missed this last segment because I was talking about it's been a while since L's been out, and you talking about how excited you are. Say what you said behind the scenes about if you come back out off a long hiatus, what do you got to be to move the needle? Because I thought that was a bar.
Oh yeah, well, I was just when me and Sean were pre-gaming, I was saying, the reason that the Sean project also didn't work is just because, well, in order for you to take the break in hip hop, people have to know who you are and you have to be all-time great. You have to be both of them. You can't be one of them and it be okay. People have to know who you are and you have to be all-time great. And so you can go to the breaks and be like, who's Rakim? Well, that's the greatest MC of all time. Well, that's who he is at the time when he stepped away. You get what I'm saying? It's who he was actually one and the same thing. It's who he is. He's the all-time greatest of all-time greatest at this stage.
And that statement is so accurate because to LL's point, like you said, the excitement, you said people got to know who you are and then you got to be all-time great. We all know that L is all-time great. But as far as the know who you are factor, he said in the interview, I believe it was with Shannon, that people are going to check this album out just off the strength they know who he is from his actor career. Like, oh yeah, that's homie from CSI. Like, I'm gonna check him out. You know what I mean? And then you end up garnering new fans that didn't even get to see you, like, pave this whole career throughout these, 30 plus going on 40 years.
What do you think the chances are that L outsells Sean?
Wow. I mean, I think it's a good possibility. I don't think in today's climate for LL, I don't think that maybe 25K is a hard task. And plus, he got some nice features in the album. Anytime you have notable features on your album, that sometimes bring in those artists' fan base as well to check out, if nothing else, those songs, and then it might lead them into the rest of the album. So I don't think that'll be that tough to do. And plus, if we're talking about all-time great scale, LL's ranks much higher than Sean on the all-time great list, so he has to outsell Sean. He's just MC of old school era versus Sean is more current, but that didn't help Sean in this matter.
Real quick, AG, we got Dante Jedi with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, Dante. Y'all put me on the Dolce project. Good look, that John tough. Yeah, it is. AG was talking about the Dolce project behind the scenes too. He said it was a top 5 rap album this year, maybe top 3. Best hip hop. Appreciate you, Dante. Love how y'all different regions. Heard Ransom and Conway is dropping on Friday. Can't wait. Yeah, excited for the Ransom and Conway too. Let's slide from one legend to the next, AG. So Nas was just in Vegas, and I guess the big talk about the show outside of the high performance level was the fact that AZ was with him for all 3 shows.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful to see, man.
I'm just gonna go ahead and let you go on that one.
That was just, huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, man, that was so beautiful to see, man. Like them rocking the stage together, full orchestra behind them, dressed to the nines in the suits and stuff. Like, I just try to put myself in their shoes, like when they're, 19, 20 years old, Nas is forming Illmatic, Life's a Bitch, they're working on that project. They probably would thought you was bugging if you said like, yo, 30 years down the road, you're going to be performing this in front of a live orchestra in Vegas. They probably would have thought that was like the most bugged out thing ever. You know what I mean? But look how life worked. You know what I mean? And it's dope to see these two, guys that, pretty much came in the industry together, still clicking up, still doing shows together. It's no bad blood between them. They still homies, still do records together on occasion. And it's good look. I was glad to see AZ on the stage with them because Nas has done this before at the Kennedy Center one time. I think it was for the 25th anniversary. It's either the 20th or 25th anniversary of Illmatic. And AZ, wasn't at that show to perform Life's a Bitch. And I don't know why he wasn't or, what played into that. But I always said, and I have the album of that, the live album on vinyl. And I always thought to myself, man, this couldn't be any more perfect unless, AZ got to come do the hook and the verse, for that particular song. So, it was just dope to see. And they rocked other joints too. I saw footage, Taj posted it on Twitter. They did Phone Tap, More Money, More Murder, More Homicide. A did Sugar Hill, I believe. Like it was dope to see, man. It was really dope.
More Money, More Murder, More Homicide behind the live orchestra is
crazy.
Motion picture shit.
The strings, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The strings, like you actually got a full orchestra, like you have a band of string players. Like, that's special stuff. So I guess I try to always look at the macro of things, and then I go to the micro of things. And for me, this is the micro. The Vegas show is the micro because I say to myself, well, Nas has been making a lot of trips to Europe and overseas and different places performing these last few years since I've been covering the Hit Boy and Nas run and just like, you know, his material and career in general. And I've always found it striking that AZ has never went overseas with Nas. And so although I'm not surprised to see A pop up in Vegas, it occurred to me today when Sean and I were having a conversation earlier this afternoon that, you know, A really hasn't moved around and spread himself around like he should. Like more people should know who A is. And I think a lot of that is on like choices that he made to literally be low key AZ, quiet money AZ.
Absolutely.
And I look at it now and it's like, well, you know, there are people in Belgium that probably would like to hear Nas and AZ do Life's a Bitch and Phone Tap Live, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so when I look at a moment like this, as special as it is, it's like, damn, I wish A would have, you know what I'm saying, like spread his portfolio around a little bit more or got with the right people that would have spread it around a little bit more because he might be, you know what he is in a lot of ways? He's our most underrated scene stealing MC.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 1000%.
Because he, I mean, if Nas is our greatest MC of all times, how many times has this guy jumped on a record with this guy and it's just like, you know, no drop off?
Zero.
So you know, in terms of his A game is pretty special. Like his A game is pretty special. The consistency of the A game can be questioned, but it's there. We've been hearing it since Life's a Bitch.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's a pride thing that he hangs his hat on? Like, you know, well, I don't need all the like major looks and whatever. I did it my way. I made my money. Like, do you think it's a pride thing? And I
I
say
don't
that
know.
in all respect. That's, you know, no disrespect, but
I don't think it's a pride thing. I think it's a mentality thing. I think the way that he approaches stuff, like when he did the Hoffa interview, like I was really watching. Like I don't really listen to what a dude say. Like I literally watch like the body language, like how you do, how you move, and it's like I'm not even sure how cool he was sitting in the room with all them. And that was like on some like New York barbershop shit. It's like if A not gonna be like super comfortable and relaxed there, not saying like he was jittery or anything, but it was almost like, you know, he was making it a point to be like, yo, that's not my thing, that's not how I get down. And so I think it's more stubborn.
that's a valid point. Yeah, that's a valid point.
Stubborn.
Yeah, like, and we use these terms with all respect, all due respect, you know, but I mean, it has to be something underlying that cause him to move that way. And you know, I want to find the right word. I said, you know, too much pride. Maybe you said stubborn, and I don't. At the essence of it, I don't think it's either one of those. I think it might just be nonchalant. Might be the word when it comes to asserting himself as one of the that we know him to be.
Okay, you got somebody like, oh, I don't believe I'm making this reference. You got somebody like Andre 3000 who's nonchalant as well, AG, but when it's time for him to kind of get his flowers and take the stage, he takes the stage appropriately.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's a low-key
Yeah.
dude too. He's a quiet dude too. He's a away from the limelight type of dude too. He too is a scene stealer of scene stealers.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's funny how life work out because I look at Nas the same way as I look at AZ. I've always thought that they were A-alikes, but Nas was, you know, pushed forward into superstardom, and he's been a superstar ever since. You know, so
some of that is voice.
okay.
Like when you said that, I thought to myself, early on, the difference is the voice. Because if you were even to tell me that bar for bar, AZ was lyrically more tenacious than Nas, I would tell you yes, especially early on. But is AZ the storyteller that Nas is? AZ's a dope storyteller. He's not the storyteller Nas is. Is vocally as good as Nas? It's like he's got an interesting voice. He's got a quality voice. It's a dope rap voice. Is it a Nas rap voice? It's like no, it's not. You know.
I'm glad you brought that up because this kind of circles back to, you know, the whole theme of this conversation. I saw in the interview, AZ said when Nas hit him up, like, yo, I finished the album, I turned it in, for mastering, it's going to come out. And it said, I put the joint with you on there. AZ was like, oh, okay. He said, I ain't gonna lie, I felt some kind of way about it because I didn't like my own voice and I didn't want the people hearing me like that. But the average person would have been like, yo, you got me on your record? That's bugged out. Like, we out of here. Like, you know what I mean? But he was saying, like, I ain't gonna lie, I felt a little kind of way because I didn't want people to hear me because I didn't like my voice. But little did he know the song would take off like it did.
That's the way artists talk, though. Like all of us, and any artist on any level who's ever recorded music is always super conscious of their voice more than anything. Because if you record music, no matter what genre it is, your voice, and Andrew and I talk about this on Mirror Music all the time. Your voice is just as important as the concept, the content, the track, beat, live instrumentation, whatever ambient background music noise is going on. Like, your voice is just as important as all of those other things. Like, Ambitions as a Rider by Tupac sounds the way it sounds because Tupac is singing it.
Right.
It don't hit you the same because people don't have that voice to do that. Like, that's him in his zone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, when I recorded, I didn't like my voice. I don't even like listening to it on the playback of our pods to keep it 100. So, but yeah, I feel what you're saying though.
All right, where are we going next, AG? Because it looks like Sean has abandoned us, but that's not uncommon because Sean is the unreliable one of the three of us. And this is just him being true to who he is. He's player hating because I'm moderating. All right, you're supposed to be on the sideline commentating.
Yeah, he's on the sideline like that. So let's go ahead. You want to go to the Travis topic?
I do want to talk about Travis. I want to talk about a 10-year-old mixtape almost becoming the #1 album in the nation and literally missing it by under 1,000 units, streams / fuckery of, like, I don't know what they doing, but I know he was less than a G short. I don't know what the fuck it is that they do. How they do the arithmetic on this? It's like, well, this stream. I'd like to thank Taj for this bullshit for ruining my life forever. She's like, no. If you play it on this platform, it counts as this many. I'm like, it counts differently on different platforms.
Mm-hmm. In certain amount of times, you got to play so much of the track for it to count as a stream on this platform versus this platform. It's really crazy.
The weight be all the same over here. You know what I'm saying? Everything weigh what it's supposed to weigh.
Yeah.
When you put it on the scale. So what do you think culturally this represents, him doing that? Like, not musically, like, we can get into the music aspect of it in a minute, but culturally, what does it represent? And what does it say about Travis that something that he made a decade ago shot to the charts? And what's the tipping point behind this moment?
It's two things. I think it's twofold. I think that they helped create some excitement, like it was between him and Sabrina, Claudio, or whatever. Because she said she was doing it for Nicki, where Travis outsold Nicki before, and and they kind of got. I don't think it was any real problems there, but it was kind of the competition. Like, oh, my fan base is going to win. We're going to push these numbers. We haven't really seen nothing like that. I don't think since 50 and Kanye did it with Graduation and Curtis. So I think that was a motivator for fans to get behind. We talked about built-in fan bases to get behind their artists and really push those numbers. And for it to only be less than 1,000 streams, then, or was that streams or true record sales?
I don't know. I want to say sales. I want to say it's
okay.
Sales.
Either way, it was.
Hold on, AG. This is what I'm talking about the fuckery. Isn't the streams included in the units moved in terms of how it generates sales? Doesn't X amount of streams equal a unit move?
Yes, it's supposed to be.
It's all sales to me, even though we're being lied to daily.
Yeah, but either way, it was hella close. But I think it created some excitement. But this was my main takeaway, and and I want to let you speak on what it means for Travis's stardom and who he is. But my main takeaway was this: I think in the streaming era, there is a place to bring back. This is a 10-year-old mixtape. If you can get certain samples cleared, there's classic mixtapes that we can bring back on DSPs and it really moved the needle. I think this shows that. Previous examples are Drake with So Far Gone. He cleared the samples and got it put on DSPs. I personally would like to see Friday Night Lights do the same. I'm sure Cole got the money to get the samples cleared to get it on DSPs. So I think this shows that there is a market for that. It's a place for that, long as the stuff can get cleared and it can get put out. Because if you have a 10-year-old mixtape of old material that's doing numbers, if you got that built-in fan base, they've been clamoring for that because, these things are only made available through certain other mediums. And now it's on streaming, readily accessible. I think it's a market for that. So that was my main takeaway.
Man, AG, look here, man. You know what this is at the end of the day for me?
What's that?
Trav is everything we want Sean to be. That's my takeaway from this.
Yeah, I can see that.
Everything that we talk about that we need from Sean, we Trav. And so maybe we've had this conversation wrong the whole time. Like maybe the pecking order of it is kind of like, and I would still throw Future in this mix because like he existed during all of their primes and like they all, So, but when I think of it as a whole and think about what I'm about to say. So for what we would call the modern era of MC, we have Kendrick, Drake, Cole, Trav, ASAP, and Sean, right? When you say that's the modern era?
I got to put Nicki ahead of Sean.
Okay, we can put Nicki in there too. Nicki's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So those 7.
Mm-hmm.
Sean is 7th, right?
Correct.
But Trav might be 4th or 5th.
Correct.
And with what's happened, and think about what I'm about to say. Well, with what's happened to Cole, people love Trav albums from this era more than they love Cole's albums because Trav's more of a vibe. Like I said, and like I said in our thread yesterday, he's this generation's Kanye.
Yeah, I mean, Drake even alluded to it in the Push-Ups record. He said Travis got you wiped down. I mean, Travis is selling more records than Kendrick.
Well, hold on. Well, that's what I'm saying. So when you actually look at it, if you really want to look at this era in totality, he could, I mean, numbers-wise, he's in Drake and Future level in terms of his numbers. In terms of his influence, he's on Drake and Kendrick's level. And Cole's like he hits all the levels actually higher than everybody does consistently, except for at the actual craft of MCing. But you could even have an argument, especially what happened with Cole this year. The Trav might have some like number 3 or number 4 placement that he deserves. Because think about this: which one of these dudes got a 10-year-old mixtape going number 1? That's some Kanye shit.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Kanye because if we're talking about just influence in a vacuum, I got Travis over everybody, and that was over Drake.
Okay. So my problem with that is the same thing is the same problem that I have with Nicki when you say that, which is when you're talking about his influence, there's somebody before him that influenced him directly, and you can hear it. Like I hear when Trav makes beats, I hear 808s and Yeezus in Graduation. Like
Yeah.
And so when I see Nicki, it's like, no, I understand everything you're saying. It's just that I've seen Lil' Kim. And so
we're talking 2 separate influences.
So much credit. I'm only going to give you so much credit for influence when I can see your direct line of influence so apparent. And I'm not talking early stages of career. I'm talking like middle to later stages of career. I can see the influence that exists still. It's not
We're talking 2 separate influences. I didn't know.
Nice of you to pop back up.
I'm sorry, fellas. I had some. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sean's an important guy, but hold up. Like me and you were talking 2 different influences, Coop. I hear what you're saying about the music. I'm meaning that Travis touches other markets that those other people don't touch, as far as like, Cole, Kendrick, Drake, Nicki, Future. Travis is like just a hair, behind Kanye. Pause, that sounded crazy. He's just a shade behind Kanye as far as like overall influence. I mean, the sneaker market, just like you got the music aspect. He's just, I mean, bro was selling a collab of a McDonald's line in clothes. Like he did a McDonald's collab and like they were just selling out of that stuff. But like, you know what I mean? He that's the influence I'm speaking of. He's touching different markets that these other artists are not touching. So in that, as far as the era, the 7 people that we talked about, I think Trav would be number 1 out of all that.
You might have a point. So Sean, we're gonna give you a little rapid fire right quick, since you don't know how to show up for work on time and then actually stay at work. Black man's break. You took a black man's break right now. You said I'll be right back. You smoked a cigarette, then you realized it was your last cigarette, so you went to the store, got cigarettes. While you were there, realized that the gas tank was almost empty, decided to fill up the gas tank, ended up having a conversation with somebody at the other gas tank, smoked another cigarette, then bought your ass back to Hip Hop Talks.
I can't relate. I'm sorry.
Sean, what did you think about Nas in Vegas with AZ, and why do you think that AZ hasn't performed with Nas overseas?
I love it, man. There's not an appetite for AZ overseas, honestly. AZ is Brooklyn bound. He's East Coast bound. There's not an appetite for AZ outside of that. And I love AZ. Shout out to AZ, man. Anthony Cruz, AZ, the legend, one of those. But it's just not an appetite for him out there. Can we name 3 or 4 songs that has crossed over into a different genre that AZ is attached to outside of Nas? I'm talking about just solo dolo. If you don't have that, then they're not going to gravitate to you. And overseas, they love hip hop. They love hip hop to the core, but he just doesn't have that that extra boost, if you will, to entice an overseas crowd where there's an appetite for him to be over there. Whereas Nas has crossed over in different ways, which is very interesting because he said it himself. He's underground and overground, right? He's very unique in that aspect because Nas is from that boom bap Rakim cloth, where what he's doing right now is like an anomaly. Because I don't think that someone, respect the Raw, respect the King, respect to all of those guys, even respect to Ray, respect the Ghost, all of them, they won't be able to do what Nas is doing, selling out these venues and having a residency solo dolo in Vegas or even going overseas selling out as well, selling out the Garden. All of those things play a huge factor that I don't think we talk about enough because he's the rapper that probably shouldn't even have that kind of gravitas when it comes to selling out those venues in that manner, because his peers are not doing it. His peers can't do it, and his peers are dope, some of the dopest, but they can't do it. That's not discussed enough. Queens get the money.
I knew that was coming. I was going to let you finish. I was going to let you finish and say Queens get the money. Go ahead. I was about to say go ahead and let it out. I was waiting for him to say it. I was like, man. I was like, you want to know what I was thinking the whole time you were talking? I was like, this motherfucker is from Corona, Queens. I asked him a question about Nas, and he's like, "Go ahead. I'm just gonna wait till I hear Queens get the money, then I'm gonna jump back in." And that's
and I didn't cut you. I didn't cut you off, Sean. But saying AZ's full government name, Anthony Cruz, doesn't make what you were saying any less disrespectful. I'm just saying.
Wow, that was strike 2. Strike 2.
Okay, so to get you caught up because of your negligent behavior, Sean, we're talking about Trav. We've been talking about Trav and Trav's placement and the fact, and I made a statement, and I just want to hear your comment about my statement and hear what your rebuttal or your commentary may be. I said that who Trav actually is who we want Sean to be. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good thing. You said that, cool? I know AG didn't say that. You said that, cool?
I did say that.
That didn't come from AG. Yeah, that did not come from AG.
AG don't got bars like that, man.
He don't have bars like
that. Don't work that way.
He taps out. Yeah, he caps out. Yeah. That's man, bro. That's we gotta write that one down. We gotta retweet that one. That's a good one.
We're on live, so hopefully, people are behind the scenes. I'm not gonna call out any names. Andrew, Max, can we get a chop up? Can we get a chop up? Catch up our bars.
That's a damn good one because damn, that's a good one. I did pause on that one. Let me text somebody. Say, Coop got one because it's been a while since he had one.
Coop got
It's been a
one.
while.
You want to know what?
It's been a while. You did.
Yo, the bar wasn't like that. Y'all like the dudes at the smack battles. They be like, oh, and the bar wasn't even that fly.
This guy is crazy. No, man, but yo, that's a very good statement because I do think that with Travis, I'm gonna say it like this: I don't think Travis is in that rapper echelon anymore, and I don't even know if he ever was in that rapper echelon. And I think it's hard to pause to put him in that bucket of hip hop when his audience, man, his audience is probably not even hip hop anymore.
Well, what you're saying makes him more like Kanye than even any statement that I could express, if that's the case.
Absolutely.
That makes him more like Kanye than anything else, what you're saying.
He is. He's an experience. He's stadium. Because when I think about him, I think about
stadium flow. I told you it's graduation. Like every time he make a beat, I'm like, this is graduation.
But let's just call a spade a spade. Like Travis did this just being Travis. And when a lot of times it just boils down to some people are more interesting than others. Travis is just more interesting than Sean. Point blank, period.
Makes him
regardless if the music is better or not.
Well, let me ask you both something, AG, and you can take the lead on this. Travis, we really don't talk about his catalog, but does Travis have a better catalog than Drake, J. Cole, Future, Sean? Where does his catalog actually rank? Because I think if we're still ranking catalogs, Kendrick is still coming in first, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. His is not better than.
So who's number two? Like, is it Future? Is it Trav? Is it Cole? Is it Sean? Is it Nicki? Like who's tell me 2, 3, 4, 5 after Kendrick, because we know Kendrick is one for this generation in catalog. Who's second? Who's third? Who's fourth?
Here's what's crazy, Poop. Here's what's crazy, Poop. I would say Drake, but the volume that he has in his catalog actually hurts him more than helps him. Because some of those joints are forgettable. And even though Cole has less volume, I would say that I would put Cole's catalog second over Drake's just because Drake has released so much and all of it has not been quality. But
you wouldn't say it prior to 2016, but keep going.
Yeah, it is a point where the dip occurs, but after that, it's just like hit miss, hit miss, hit miss. But I don't. Still, with that said, I don't think Travis's catalog is better than Future's, Nicki's, or Drake's. I would just put him over Sean as far as catalog goes. He's the only one out of that whole group that I would put. Damn, because so Sean ended up in last place with catalog, and then as far as just the best, out of those 7.
So you're not big on Rodeo, Astro World, like no?
No, I love both of those, but I don't think it's enough to surpass Future's catalog. Nicki might be a conversation, but
catalog-wise, I think Nicki's a conversation.
Yeah, that might be a conversation, but Future got too much.
I got I Am AJ with the 199 super chat. The new Juicy J album, Raven Night Social Club, is fire. I didn't even know Juicy J had a project. Juicy J still works, y'all.
I didn't either.
He didn't put out a few joints over the last few years. Like, he stayed working. I love the Juicy J stay working. So overall, what is our synopsis of Trav? Like, some people feel like, Trav took ASAP style and ran with it.
Yeah.
Some people feel like, some people feel like he's the Kanye for this era. Like, where are we officially like ranking Trav for this era? Because I can't state this enough. Like, none of these other dudes have a 10-year-old mixtape that's about to almost take the number 1 spot on the charts. They're not even going to take number 2. As a matter of fact, I'm tell you, none of these other dudes or ladies, shout out to Nicki, Cardi, like, none of them have a 10-year-old mixtape that's about to be in contention for a top 5 slot on Billboard 10 years later. Not a mixtape. So Trav is different. And so where are we really, really ranking him? Because if it's a marathon and not a sprint, and we give Nas so much credit for how he has performed, like, it's literally like watching somebody like Birdie and Eagle 15, 16, 17, and 18 on the green. Like, that's what if Nas is doing that and we're giving him so many bonus points for that, what does it say about somebody like Travis when, quite frankly, it's been a long time since Kendrick, Cole, Drake, Future, Nicki have dropped anything that resembles really great album of the year material, that he has a 10-year-old mixtape that is almost going #1 on the charts. Like
I hate to say this.
That's saying something, because in a lot of ways that's saying it's like, well, I'm standing the test of time in a way that, you know, my contemporaries are not, which is the same thing we say about Nas.
Mm-hmm. I hate to say this, but Sean is 100% right. Mark this day down on the calendar.
Never say that in public again.
but but real talk, I think, you know, what Sean talked about, I think Travis is at a point where he's transcended hip hop, and most of his fan base is not even of hip hop culture. Like, you know, Travis show is an experience. Dude is a rock star, right? Mm-hmm. And when you go and see, you know, this always blew my mind about Wu-Tang Clan. You go to a Wu-Tang show, it'd be way more white people in the audience than, you know, black people in hip hop culture, because they were rock stars, man. It was just like, they were a whole movement. And not comparing Travis to Wu-Tang, but it's just like, once you transcend beyond like the hip hop boundaries and you tap into that other fan base, I don't think they even look at Travis like a rapper himself. I think they look at him like, honestly, a rock star. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, that gives him an edge in today's climate versus the, you know, quote unquote average hip hop artist that may be a Big Sean or what have you. You know what I mean? I think Travis is able to transcend in ways that, you know, somebody like that can't.
He's a hybrid. He's a hybrid, because we say he comes from the Kanye tree, but he doesn't have the Kanye lineage when it comes to hip hop at its core, because right. Kanye's lineage at its core is hip hop, you know, beat wise, affiliation wise, all of those things. But Travis didn't do that. Travis actually kind of started off on second, third base, as opposed to Kanye started off on first base. So now you got Trav with a head start. He's learned from Kanye. He's learned from Drake. He's using both models, and he's combining those models, because again, he got dope merch. I love the Travis Scott shoes. Everything is 100%. You got
ASAP in there too. There's some ASAP in there too.
There's some ASAP in there, swagger wise, and he took it to a whole different level. Cool, because if you think about it, his demo is not the hip hop demo. If you look at the crowd that he caters to, or that he actually performs in front of, that's a rock, hip hop, pop, it's a melting pot of a actual audience, and they're sticking by him the entire way through. It doesn't matter what he drops. They're sticking with him.
So I used to feel the same way about the Roots, but they never did numbers like this.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room. It's not as much of a factor now, but on his ascension to fame, the Kardashian effect is real.
It is. No, I mean, when you put a Kardashian in your algorithm, your numbers gonna go up. All your numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. And once, you know, like I said, it's not as much of a factor now because they're not together, I don't believe. But, you know, during his most pivotal part of his career, his rise to the top, you know, that was his shorty. You know what I'm saying? So all those fan base, that whole fan base is built in now. They're locked in with him.
But AG, don't forget about the bundles, because the bundles play a big role in these that he has. I mean, go ahead, cool.
No. I'm listening.
As someone who loves fashion and, you know, shoes and merch, I'm looking at like, yo, he about to drop another Cactus Jack shoe or another Cactus Jack hoodie.
You and me both done played top dollar for some Cactus Jack Travis Scott. I got 3 pair of Travis Scott J's and Nike Air Maxes.
And if you think about not just even that, but just the bundle that comes with the consumption of his music, just to say, I got it. It's the exclusive part of it, because everybody doesn't have it. If it was for general release, if it was general release, it'd be different because everybody has access to it. But because it's so exclusive and it's like by head count, you're going to rush to get it. And it's going to spike up the numbers because everybody can't get it.
Well, hold on. How fair? So J. Cole plays a straight up and down game where there's no bundles. Not be bundled. First of all, bundle sounds like nasty work. Let's just call it what it is. When you bundle something, it sounds like nasty work is going on.
It's marketing, baby.
But forget the bundle marketing.
Hold on, AG. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Trav need bundles, or does he choose to do bundles? Like who's out here doing bundles, and are the numbers skewed because of the bundles? This goes back to Pusha T on Infrared when he said those numbers aren't real without inflation. Like, who's doing merch because it really benefits them financially, a la Kanye, and who's really doing it just to put their numbers up to snuff? Like, there's a difference.
Great point, but everybody can't do it.
No, you can't.
Everyone can't do it. You got to have that built in.
So can Trav exist without the merch options that come with the bundles?
I think he can.
Because his merch sells out the stuff not associated with the bundles, and then he has something marketable that's intangible that we can't quite, put our finger on. Put it this way: we all know the controversy that surrounded Travis Scott, right? Years ago. Mm-hmm. Look at his star, how bright it shines today, even after that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, AG, I think 50 Cent said it best. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty bad publicity. but
when you get to live and tell about it, not the equivalency of, but let's not get it twisted. Like, Tupac's biggest selling record happened, after he got shot 5 times. That put him in a sphere of people who had no idea really who he was. Because he was making national news now. Like, like Dan Rather, fucking Ted Koppel. Like, you know what I'm saying? When old white men are talking about you in America on the national news, that's different. That's transitioning the borders of hip hop. So I look at Travis as the evolution of a transitional figure. He's the evolution of a transitional figure in hip hop. He's what the modern day, Wayne, Kanye, like he is off that tree in terms of the star power of it, like that natural gravitas that you're talking about, Sean. Trav has that.
Yep.
I think he's the combination of those two. What you just said, Cool.
Trav. People just fuck with Trav. You get what I'm saying? Like, just everybody in general. I think that's how something like this happens, because this is one of those tipping point moments that like adds to his legend in this era.
And something to point out, I think next week he's trending at 25,000, where Sabrina is selling 155. So that means the merch has ran its course. So once the merch and the bundles run its course, now you're talking about his pure sales. So you're talking
material though.
Say it again.
It's old material. Like, if it hurts up against Utopia, then we having a different conversation.
Yes and no, because you think about it, like the bundle package was the selling point.
Mm-hmm.
You get this, you get this, right? Like, if AG, you sneak ahead, right? So if we're saying, if I have to purchase this with an opportunity to get with the Legend Blues, early before December, what you doing? You entering every single
question. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's attached to it. But once all the merch is soaked up or consumed, next week's sales is going to show me my pure sales. It's going to show me there's no bundle attached to it. Does that audience who didn't pick it up on this first round, or they coming back for that second round, that second go around? Because
there's no incentives.
If you're dipping 150 basis points in sales week over week, we got to have a conversation now.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah, it's no incentives attached to it. But I still think it looks different if it's brand new material versus 10-year-old material.
Yeah, but that's his brand. That's who he is. Yeah. Everybody can do it. He can do it.
But Coop said something real poignant without even realizing that. He said, was talking about Wayne and Kanye. I think, people use the phrase, like, if Wayne and Kanye had a baby, I think we get, Travis Scott, like who he is as an artist, like rock star type individual, got the merch, the crazy following attached with it, you know what I'm saying? Heavy influence. I think that's what Travis is as an artist, but not as good a rapper as either one of those guys on that level. But just from an artist standpoint, if you take Kanye and Lil Wayne, I think you get Travis. Pause.
If you're talking about the artistry, I do understand what you're saying. Hey guys, we're doing great on time, so I want to throw you a little curve right quick and get your thoughts. While we're here, Ransom and Conway dropping a project. Do we have ourselves an album of the year contender?
I think so.
Who's doing the production, gentlemen?
That's my question.
I love Lavish Misery, so like if Ransom's still rapping like he was rapping on that, and then Conway coming to the table, with what he can do. I think they got Banks on a feature. I think this joint gonna be dope.
Is it? Here's what I'm gonna tell you all. I think it's gonna be too much boom bap for people for it to be album of the year.
That's my point.
It's too much boom bap. What's beautiful about Pray for Paris is that it's not just boom bap. It feels orchestrated. It feels like you're walking through a cathedral of like a ghetto museum. And Westside Gunn is the curator explaining to you all the artwork on the wall. Like it's got a feel to it. It's got a vibe to it.
Yeah.
So even though it's rooted in like that slowed down Buffalo boom bap tendency, it sounds beautiful. It sounds glorious.
Yeah.
Like it sounds that way. Like when I'm using those adjectives, those are adjectives to describe something that's like enchanting to the eyes and to the ears and to all of your sensory organs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is this project going to give us that? Because if it's not going to give us that, I'm not as excited as I should be. I know what the bar work is about to be like, gentlemen. It's Conway and Ransom. I know what the bars are about to be like. We're not having a bar seminar conversation. What's the level of mastery of the songs, sequencing, structure, production, type of beat selected? Not worried about the bars.
Yes.
Yeah, to that point, Coop, I think on this last project that Ransom did, that Lavish Misery, I think that he got better at crafting songs, song making ability. And I think that's somewhere that Conway actually kind of already was. Now it's a matter if they can kind of mesh that together.
Would it come off as mixtape-ish? That would be my only thing. Would it come off as like a?
It's a very high chance of that.
Right.
I don't want that for either one of them because they deserve better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But maybe that's who they are as a tandem. You're talking about two lyrical monsoons coming together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mixtape written all over it.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to the lyrical sparring on every track.
Oh, for
sure. You know that's gonna be there.
For sure.
Now, Sean, earlier this week you sent us a thread. What is it called? The Weezy Fest, the Weezy Mania.
Yes, Weezy.
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah. Okay, Louisiana.
Yeah, so he does it every year.
Louisiana is back. And how many years was it on hiatus, Sean? I'm just asking you because you got inside scoop.
It was off like 2 years.
Okay.
He was supposed to do it last year. Something came through, but he does it every single year. He does it in some capacity every year. This is the first time I think he's doing it at the Smoothie King Arena because he's planning on something real huge. He typically does it in the park, over in, I think it's the Magnolia Park, if I'm not mistaken. But he's doing it at the Smoothie King Arena this year.
Now, my eyes are special. They go to the shit that they like, Sean. And all I saw when you sent it was Hot Boys reunion on there. I didn't see anything else. So you're gonna have to tell me everything else that was going on. All I saw was Hot Boys reunion.
Yes. And Juvie actually
tell your man's Hip Hop Talks need tickets.
Yo, we're gonna pull up. More to come on that. We're gonna pull up at the Louisiana Fest because this is gonna be huge. Juvie already retweeted and said, "I told you guys, I told you so," because he was saying they were going to get the Hot Boys back all together, and
including Turk, right?
Including Turk.
Everybody's free. Everybody's home.
Everybody's home. And the fact that they're doing it at this fest, which you get more eyes on it, because they did the Essence joint. And the Essence joint is Essence. Essence Festival is Essence Festival, right? But Louisiana, that's more of the ilk and the cloth of what they do.
Home team.
It's a home team thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they were all waiting for this to try to get everyone on the same page, get everyone locked in. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be dope. Real talk. But we need to talk about that because that's definitely a pull up. My people already hit me up and said, "Yo, we got it. We got you." So yeah, we got to hit that.
AG, thoughts on Louisiana? AG, feeling?
If it goes down and they're all there, including Turk, I think it'll be a beautiful moment. They put everything to the side and they're all on stage together.
Hold on, you said that with trepidation. You said if. It's on the tagline.
It's on the tagline, man.
You think something may still happen? AG, do you think something may still happen that may prevent us from getting our Hot Boys reunion?
I don't want to jinx anything, but it's been a lot of stuff that's in taglines that never happened. So, and I don't want to be a contrarian, but I just hope it goes down, and I hope, it'll be a beautiful thing, man. It'll be dope to see them all together. It really will. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sean is as excited as I am. I hate to side with AG. I believe it when I see it. Can't trust these rappers. Tracy G with the $2 super chat says Game's catalog better than all the rappers you just named. I would agree with that.
But Game's catalog alone all the time doesn't get the job done. It has to be more than just the catalog.
No, the cultural impact has to be there. Sometimes, timing really is everything. Sometimes you just got to be in the right place at the right time with this rap shit.
That's true.
Sometimes it's just it ain't you. It's the time in which you came. Like I was listening to a commentator talk about he's like, imagine if LeBron James doesn't exist, how we would talk about Kevin Durant.
Yep.
That's crazy thought.
Time that you exist. Like Kevin Durant has finished second in MVP vote and second or third. Like I think it's like 5 or 6 times.
Yep.
Like if LeBron doesn't exist, it's like, well, that guy got 5 or 6 MVPs.
It all comes out in the wash though, because he got 2 championships over Bron. It's like their whole career they're a thorn in each other's, in each other's sides, a pebble in each other's shoe. You know what I'm saying?
No, he kept KD from the personal accolades, but KD kept him from Clipse and Mike because he kept them 2 rings out of his hands.
Yeah.
Because LeBron got 6 rings like Mike, and he's the all-time scoring leader and top 5 in assists. You know what I'm saying?
Then we having a conversation for real. Not a manufactured conversation, a real conversation.
You're still not having a conversation.
I still would think Mike was the GOAT, but that probably be biased if LeBron got 2 more and all the accolades he has. But
for me, it's just fundamentally, it's like, well, who's better on offense? Mike. Who's better on defense? Mike. End of the conversation. Like,
break it down.
We gotta talk about the ring.
You broke it down simple. Yeah. You broke it down simple.
I mean, it's there's more nuances to the game with that, and I don't want to be disrespectful to LeBron, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, who would you rather have shooting a 3, a 2, or a free throw with the game on the line? Okay, who's the better scorer? Who's the better free throw shooter? Who's the better 2-point shooter? You know what I'm saying? To me, you always reference that NBA 75 meeting with the guys. I heard Dwayne Wade talking about it. Like when Mike showed up, all 70 plus other legends was like, it's like everything stopped in the room when he show up. When LeBron pull up in the room, that don't happen. So I've been in the room with Mike. It's different when Mike walks in the room. I'm not even gonna front. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
His aura is different. It's like he's the only motherfucker I've ever been around where it's like, no, I felt him in how massive his presence was. His presence literally is big enough to take up any room that it walks in. It's like that when he walks in the room. And so it's one of those intangible things that it's just like God gave him that. That ain't something that he just created. Like God gave him that type of like. It's different when he walk in a room. It is.
Wow. You went crazy for a second. I ain't gonna lie. Like it's like you hydroplane and start watching yourself say this from above. Like you was saying, like, yo,
it's different. Like I remember when I was watching them walk up to me the first time. I was like, oh, yeah. that nigga. Like the guy.
Yeah.
Like
Big
I
dope.
watched. I was with him. I don't think you understand. I was in a room where there were probably about 30 or other 40 professional athletes in the room, and they were like high school juniors. Like, yo, it's the GOAT. It's Mike. Like, yo, that's Mike. It's Mike. Like professional athletes with millions of dollars. That's Mike. It's Mike. It's Mike. It's Mike, dude. It's Mike. He really here? Yeah, he really here, fam. Like they talking like these. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's different with Mike in the room. I ain't never like I've been in the room with LeBron too, so it's different. Yeah,
Not the same.
Give you
not the same.
goosebumps? Cool. Give you goosebumps?
I mean, he remembered my name, and so like what I'll tell you about this. Every famous athlete that I've taken care of has like a memory. Like the best ones have the best memories. Like they remember who you are, how they dealt with you, like and all that. And then you start realizing it's like this is part of why they are so great. Like that sequence where they're asking LeBron if he remember what happened, and LeBron like ran down like the last 8 sequences of the game in
I remember
succession,
that.
and
Yep.
like literally broke down every piece. Yeah, and I passed the ball like this, but I should have. And he broke it all down. It's like no, that's a skill.
A savant is what they call it.
Yeah, but usually when you're skilled like that at one thing, transitions to like other things. And so no, they remember like what you did, what you said to them, how you behaved, and so then you start seeing like Mike works like, oh no, now I can see why he remembered being cut from the JV team because it's like he remembered, he remembered my name. I hadn't seen him in a week. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like that. You know what I mean? Like when you're maniacal like that and you're addicted to your craft, it's like, oh no, this is the motherfucker that remembered my drink. Like, what's up, Armand? How are you? Like they process different. It's another level. And Mike, yeah, Mike, the coldest motherfucker I ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna close out this show talking about Pusha T talking about the new Clipse album. This appears to be a year where like some of our OGs have been like extending the process of telling us about their projects. I mean, outside of the Paris Fashion Week, we really haven't heard any music from the Clipse. But Pusha said the album is done, and they're just waiting on one more feature. And so I don't want to talk about the project, fellas, because, well, I think the project's going to be great. But what I do want to speculate on is what feature is it that we're waiting on?
He looked dead in the camera when he said it.
He did. Yeah.
So the album's done, they're waiting on one feature. So we're going to play like a little prognostication, Nostradamus, not Nostradamus, not that. Nostradamus. We're going to play a little Nostradamus on Hip Hop Talks before we slide. And I want you gentlemen to tell me, who do you think that they're waiting on? Because this is kind of like a big deal, like the record from Till the Casket drops. So if the album is done and they're just waiting on a feature, who is it that they're waiting on?
I got 2 guesses. You care if I go, Sean?
Yeah, please.
All right. My first guess, I don't think is the likely choice, but they already announced that Nas was on the album. And a lot of people may not know that Nas was supposed to be on It's Almost Dry. He was supposed to be on Hear Me Clearly, but never turned in his verse for it. And Pusha's on record saying he, asked for it multiple times. Nas never sent the verse back to him. But Nas was, doing a lot during that time, touring, Hit Boy Run, so whatever. I do think they got the Nas verse though, but I think the way he said it in the camera, I'm gonna speculate that it's Kanye because the way he looked and how he said it was, come on, dog, like we gonna do, we really doing this, like turn in your verse. Like I feel like whoever he was talking to, it's a certain level of familiarity there where he's like, come on, man, you the only hold up, like send the verse in. So I actually do think it's Kanye. A lot of people think that they're like on the outs right now, but I do think that, they communicate some and Kanye will be on the album. I think that's the last feature they're waiting on.
I can't say Kanye. I can't agree with that. I don't think Kanye is even in that space to hop on the Clipse joint. Not like that.
Who do you got?
Mike D or Mickey Fats? My bad. I was drinking beet juice. My bad. Shout out to Mike D, Mickey Fats. My bad. My bad. I was holding out. I was holding out. My bad, fellas. That was in poor taste. No. I apologize. But just imagine though, for real, Mike D or Mickey Fats.
This is what he does, Coop. This is what he does.
Let me chill. Nah, I think I got a wild card for y'all, man. What if it's Drake?
Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. No.
What if it's Drake? What if it's Drizzy?
No.
What if it's Drizzy?
No.
What if it's Drizzy? I'm just wild card because
no way.
Here's process of elimination. I can't see it being Ye after all of that stuff. Why would he do that to Ye? Him looking into the camera is telling everybody this is a shocker. Ye is not a shocker. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's not going to.
I think that would be a shocker because of the fallout. So I would give
you. Thank you, Coop. Thank you, Coop. Somebody is talking rationally. I don't know what Sean is on thinking it's going to be Drake.
I mean, Sean definitely hit the bottle when he was on hiatus from doing the show. Like this show, I don't mean like a hiatus from like doing the show. I mean the hiatus from where he just like disappeared from this show.
I'm just saying, y'all really think that Ye would be a shocker? I think it would be more of a they've collaborated too many times for me to feel like that's he'll looking at camera and say, "Come on, man, we're waiting for you." I can't. I don't get that vibe from that. I get that from meaning for the hip hop fans. This is who y'all want us to collaborate with.
I'm so disappointed.
Nobody asked for that.
Asked for what?
A Pusha T and a Drake collab.
No one asked for
Kanye. Nobody asked for Kanye either.
No one asked for Kanye. That's what I'm saying.
But they're collaborators in general.
Yeah,
fellas, I have to tell you, both of y'all disappoint me. I think you're missing the obvious choice because
West Side Gun.
I said obvious choice.
You gonna say Jay?
Yes, sir.
I can see that. I can definitely see that more than Drake.
Let's take a step back. What would make this reunion album larger than life? Well, if you can come back from a hiatus as a group, what do we talk about you have to be? Well, people have to know who you are, and you have to be
all-time great.
Yeah.
Well, the Clipse are both of those things, in my opinion. But being able to secure a Nas feature and a Jay feature on the same album is still a big deal. It is still a big deal. And to the best knowledge of how it's been shared to me, the last couple times Pusha T has gotten verses from Jay, he's had to send Jay the stuff completed outside of Jay's verse. And so because this process has happened before, I would tell you there is a track that is finished by the Clipse, and it's just waiting on a Jay verse to sew it up. And Jay, probably being Jay and still being hyper and ultra competitive, has probably heard how quality that record is and wants to do it justice, and has probably heard the Nas joint that is done. And I've known Taj long enough, AG, that it's like she took a tone with me on a text message to let me know that Nas wasn't the person whose verse wasn't done. I did ask. So his verse has been done and has been turned in because I did ask. Good. And it's done and it's turned in. And that makes me speculate and say, well, Jay's probably heard the Nas verse. He probably really likes this song that they sent him. And he wants to take his time and make sure that he does it justice. And he's Jay. So he has, word of the day, gravitas, to hold up a Clipse album for his verse.
Sean's word.
Okay, it's our word now. Sean doesn't have words. It's the first nice word he said since we started this podcast.
You know what? You know what, Cool? I'm rolling. Like, I didn't consider Jay.
Who else could hold this up?
But he also said it wasn't Jay. Push said it wasn't Jay.
I don't believe that.
Sean just be making stuff up.
No, he did. I'm good talk. He said it wasn't Jay. He said it wasn't Jay. He said it wasn't Jay.
Well, let's just pretend it is. Like, if he does get Jay and Nas on the same album, that's only been not talking about a DJ Khaled album. That's only been done twice before. Scarface on The Fix and Kanye on Late Registration.
Correct.
Yes.
Both classics.
Timberland, the Timberland album. It's got Lobster and Scrimps and Tuma.
Yeah, but we won't bring it back.
And the Neptunes album has Frontin' and Popular Thug.
Forgot about Popular Thug.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not as much of a unicorn type situation as I was trying to make it out to be. But at any rate,
no. But think about the artists that I just named in the style.
I can't stand Sean. A word to everything. I cannot stand that dude. Like Sean.
But think about the style of music. See, why I say Jay is that think about the style of music that the Clipse make. Usually, when Nas and Jay are on the same project, it's a large mass production type of project. It's a Khaled, it's a Pharrell, it's a Timberland, it's a Kanye. This is the Clipse.
Yeah,
but I just can't see it being
pretty. This is more in the mud. This is.
I don't. To be honest, I don't care who it is, and Nas is my favorite rapper, so I'm looking forward to that. But the song that I really want to hear is the Clipse and the confirmed verse from Stove. That's gonna be the one.
Give me that. Give me that. Give me Benny. It could be Benny.
I don't think so. I think it'd be done if it was Benny.
Yeah, I believe that.
I think it has to be somebody important enough or legendary enough or just notoriously late enough to put it on hold. Andre 3000 comes to mind. Now that I'm thinking about it.
How about Wayne? Would that be shock value?
I think Wayne is more likely than Drake. Okay. But I don't think Wayne does it out of respect for Drake.
I can see that too.
But Coop, I'm rolling with you though, because you have a point, because this almost happened on the Ross album. And then the Pusha T verse got removed. So if Pusha T wanted to, and people were anticipating hearing them both together. So if Pusha T wanted to make good on that and say, you know what, we'll ask Wayne to get on the song, then I think that's a possibility. I think Wayne is the dark horse candidate. Yeah, I'm rolling. Yeah. Everything Coop said, I'm rolling. Sean, sorry, I ain't rolling with your takes.
I just said Wayne. What are you talking about? You said you rolling with it.
My bad. I thought Coop said that. Coop said
no.
I'm just programmed to hate on what you say, Sean. My fault.
There's nothing wrong with that, AG. You stick with your mission. Mad Max with the 199 super chat says Luda had them on a song too. Ooh, Mad Max is right, fellas. Luda had Nas and
Yeah, same song.
He got the bath sauce joint with X. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was meaning features on two separate joints versus, on the same song. But
collaborate. No. So, any closing thoughts, arguments, gentlemen?
Nah, phenomenal show.
I think, most of it was phenomenal because he left.
That is like, wow. That was Mike D-ish. That was some Mike D stuff right there. Cool. This is Sean J.
Not Sean J. This fool just say it's Sean J. Mad Max with the 199 super chat. It just better not die. It just better not die.
I think he's saying the feature better not be Dot, which that's Kendrick's best feature he's ever done, in my opinion. Nostalgia.
You think Nostalgia is the best feature?
I don't know, because that joint with him in the game, the city, Angels in the City.
I think Nostalgia is better.
I think Nostalgia is better than that.
He went crazy at Angels in the City.
He did, but Nostalgia is better.
Some said
Sean, you gotta leave Mike.
Some people say the cucumber better pickle.
All right, pause. All right, let's wrap up the show.
People said pause at that, but when Coop said, when I saw Michael Jordan get chills up my spine.
Next time you take a break, you stay out the stash.
But y'all saying pause, but Coop literally gave us a soliloquy about Michael Jordan, saying he had chills up his spine when he saw Michael Jordan.
First of all,
and y'all didn't say pause. No one said pause to that.
That's Michael Jordan. That's different. That's what I'm trying to explain. If you would have been listening and paying attention to the goddamn story, you would understand.
Hey,
Michael Jordan.
If you want to play that way, you play that way.
You struggling?
Break.
If you don't play that way, you play that way.
Hold on. Ooh. Hold on. Because somebody just posted this in the chat. Did Dr. Dre and Snoop turn in that album by September 1st to drop in November, Sean?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I ain't gonna front. Yo,
Maybe
Yeah.
Didn't he say September 1st?
Yeah, he did.
Have you seen or heard any news since the month of September started?
No.
I'm sorry. Nothing at all.
Okay. I'm just checking.
I saw a picture.
You was all with the coupe. They dropping. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Like
let me know on September 1st. Let me know on September 1st if it's dropping. It's September 4th. Where are they now?
You're cool. I'm
right
sorry.
Now.
I might be wrong on that one. I saw a picture of Dre and Nestor in the studio. Not sure what that means. We're gonna be doing another show tomorrow, right? But it's gonna be like a special treat for the fans. We actually about to hop and do that right now and post it for you guys tomorrow. We got a special show for y'all tomorrow. I think y'all will love this. It's an original idea that we're doing in light of the NFL kicking off tomorrow night. We plan to drop it right before the game, so you guys will have some entertainment before the game kickoff. I just want to throw that out there because we actually about to do that here real soon.
No doubt.
And release it tomorrow. Anyone who want to hop in the backstage with us, can we do that? Can we invite someone on the backstage and see how we create or curate?
It depends on who it is. If it's Mad Max,
it depends on who it is. Definitely depends on who it is. No
if it's Tracy G, the answer is yes. It all depends upon the person.
Absolutely. No freak show stuff. No freak swords. No freaking swords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very easy.
But yeah.
No doubt.
Make sure y'all click like and subscribe to the page. Be looking out for our show that we're having tomorrow. Kind of get the NFL kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
3 of us are about to take a brief break and then get back to recording. Salute. This is Hip Hop Talks, y'all.
We out.
Peace.
Peace.